we double click on our generator, it does not matter which one, so it could be PV1 or PV2. They both have the same generator capability curve. Okay, you can see this is the curve. Now if we click on PV1, we will see there is exactly the same curve here, but you can change them. Now, reactive power operational limits under load flow. Now if we click in here, we can see exactly the operational limits that are over here. Okay, under configuration, you can choose whether you want to represent a limit in megawatt or in per unit. Okay, then if you represent your limits in per unit, obviously you will have to design new limits, because the previous limits, they were in megawatt and mvar. Okay, so the limits that we're going to define in this lecture here, they're going to be based on the megawatt and megavar. Great. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and click on select. Okay, so this is going to open this particular window here. This is the existing capability curve that is already in use, but now we're going to define a new capability curve. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and click on the new object here. Okay, that says save changes in mvar limits curves. So we're going to say yes. Okay, then it's create this new capability curve here that is blank with no parameters. These are the parameters we're now going to be entering to define our capability curve. Now it is important to note that the data that we're going to be entering here, they must be coming from the generator manufacturer's data sheet or the nameplates if you are able to locate them there. Otherwise, they must be provided by the manufacturer of the generator. Now, the key concept here is that the curves basically will live in here in the library. Okay, the generator or the PV generator will only reference it. The separation is very powerful, right? It's a very powerful separation in that it means one curve that you define, one of these, can basically be used for multiple generators, assuming that they are identical generators with the same performance and capability, because you're not going to provide a curve that is way above the generator physical limits. And in that way, this curve that you're going to define can be easily updated or even be switched based on the time of the day, which curve you want your generator to apply. Now let's go ahead and name our capability curve. Now, as you can see, the name already changed here. Now, for our PV generator or synchronous machine that will make use of this curve here, this curve will basically define its reactive power battlefield as it tries to integrate or support the point of common coupling. How much Q it can inject to boost the voltage, or absorb to prevent over voltage, and this must be done at every level of real power output or active power output. To build our curves, it's very simple. We've got 3 columns here. We just need to add a couple of rows. So we're going to go ahead and append. So you can go ahead and append rows if you just want to add 1 row. If you want to add a couple of rows, that means you need to append n number of rows. So we've already got 1. We just need to add another 5 rows. Okay, and there we go. So now we only need to capture the data for our capability curve. Now, it's important to note that we basically building this for a 0.5 MVA inverter system or generator, right, with a maximum active power output of basically 0.475, as we've seen here, basically 0.448 megawatt. Okay, so we want an aggressive curve, right, that maximize its grid support potential. So in that, for active power output of 0 watt, we want to be able to inject negative 0.3 mVAR. At the same time, we want to be able to supply 0.3 mVAR. Okay, then for active power 0.1 megawatt, we want to be able to do negative 0.29 and also positive 0.29. We are busy building the generator capability curve. For active power 0.2 megawatt, we want to be able to inject 0.27 and we want to be able to absorb 0.27 as well. For active power 0.3, we want to be able to inject 0.24 and also positive 0.24. For active power 0.4, we want to be able to inject negative 0.2 and also absorb positive 0.2. Now we're nearing the maximum MVA of this PV generator that we're working on. It's 0.5 MVA, but the active power we can see there it's 0.448 only. So which means if we supply active power 0.475, which is already the absolute maximum, okay, now at this point there is a little bit of room of reactive power, but that can now take us above the MVA rating. So which means when you are doing 0.4, if you do injections of negative 0.2, you basically going to be reaching the MVA limits of this generator, which is only 0.5 MVA. Because remember, this and this need to add in the terms of the power triangle. So you're going to be exceeding that. So which means at this point here, we can only do 0.15 injection, and we can also do positive 0.15 absorptions. Now we've built our reactive power capability curve. As you can see, it's basically formed over there. Okay, now we can say okay, and it's already been selected here. Now obviously we can change the capability curve now by choosing this one, selecting. You can see changes over here, or we go back, we select the one we just defined, and then it changes over there. Now before we give a quick spin into our new generator capability curve, let's just go back quickly in there and just quickly break down what's going on here. So as we've already said here, that at 0 active power, the PV inverter's full current capacity is basically available, okay, for reactive work. This means we've got a strong plus minus 0.3 mVAR that's available. Now as real power increases, as we can see here, we basically carve into that available current. So the reactive power capability tapers down, as you can see. At full power 0.475, the inverter can still provide plus minus 0.15 mVAR. Now, this isn't just a guess, right? It's basically dictated by the Pythagorean theorem, where the hypotenuse of this power triangle P, Q, and S is basically the inverter's fixed current rating. And as we've seen on the previous lectures on understanding the reactive power capability curve, we know the physical check is that the square root of P square plus Q square must be less or equal the S rated, basically the MVA rating of the particular generator or inverter. Now, with those parameters entered, PowerFactory here will basically just interpolate a smooth operating boundary for either our PV generators here or our synchronous machine generators. Now, this is basically the digital fence of both our power source here that they cannot cross. Now let's go ahead and give this a quick load flow spin here. AC load flow balance positive. Okay, execute. There we go. Now, what are we seeing here? We can see that we already exceeding the reactive power limits here. We can also see that our two PV generators are overloaded. This one is supplying 0.5 megawatt and this particular one is 0.4 megawatt. Okay, the limits, let's see what's going on here. So they are both at negative 0.7 mVAR, and with PV1 here, the minimum is set at 0.17 that it can inject, while PV2, the minimum is at 0.15. Why is this the case? Even though they both supplying the same overloaded reactive power. Well, the reason is because PV2 is already at 0.5 megawatt active power that it's supplying. That is why it can only give a minimum of 0.15. Now, this is already pushing beyond the boundaries, okay? And while PV1 is at 0.4, that way it can still give up to 0.17 of injection. Now, in a real world scenario, those PV inverters will already be experiencing stability issues. They will probably be shutting down by now. But this is a simulation. Now, we need to try to address these issues. So for now, we're going to do a simple trick. So what's going on here is we can see that the PCC bus bar is at 0.98 here, okay? And our external grid is supporting it with 1.01 per unit with some voltage drop across a line. Now we're sitting at 0.98. Now these PVs are also trying to control it. By trying to control the bus bar, they are actually causing the voltage to sag again. Now that is a subject for another day. So if we go in here, let's just stop the load flow for a moment, and we go in here, we can see that they are on voltage control, okay?